"Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all?" asked the queen in Snow White's fairy tale. And the magic mirror would always reply, you are the prettiest in the land." The cycle went on and the queen was pleased. But one day, someone became prettier than her. She was very unhappy with it. It hurt her self-esteem. She wanted to do anything to get that title back. More than anything, she wanted to be admired. Why so? A mythological Greek youth named Narcissus was going beside a lake, and he saw his own reflection in the water. He felt a sudden urge of admiration for himself. He fell in love with his reflection and could not dare to look away from something so beautiful. No longer grasping the world around him while ignoring his physical needs, he died there, looking at his own reflection. I guess love really is blind. In this case, metaphorically. What happened to the queen, to Narcissus, and to many more who get unconsciously attached with their images is what people like to call today narcissism. Narcissism is sort of the buzzword of our time, but it's miserably misunderstood. Narcissism is sort of a disorder of inflated self-esteem and grandiosity. But here's the catch. Narcissists have a superficial facade. Behind that mask, their self-esteem is very weak and brittle. They are the most insecure people in the room. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, CA and Professor of Psychology in California State University, describes the framework of narcissism with the central pillars of entitlement, grandiosity, superficiality, rage, arrogance, lack of empathy, and shallow emotion, which is a manifestation of pathological insecurity. This really creates the core of the disorder. Narcissism is most commonly present in political, corporate, academic, and media leaders. Whether societally or individually, the toxic wave of narcissism is harming us all. We see in every critical relationship, narcissistic parents, narcissistic children, siblings, friends, bosses, co-workers. I happened to be a victim of this 4 years ago. Of course, I was not aware that this particular characteristic has a particular name to it, which was quite bizarre because at the age of 12, I was aware that pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis is a lung disease caused by the inhalation of silica dust. But I was not aware of the fact that my friend was a narcissist. Anyways, we met at a culminating event. It's basically this yearly activity where we students enact a short skit based on everything we've learned so far in every subject. I was chosen to host along this activity with him. Thereon, we became great friends. But at this stage of getting to know each other, everything seemed perfect. Everything was fine because I had never known someone who shared so much in common with me. We loved the same music, we loved to do the same activities, we had the same interests, we hated ketchup on our fries, but enjoyed it as a side. You get the picture. Such commonalities draw you closer faster. The narcissistic friend wants to be with you all the time. They text you, they call you, and you often wonder how did they survive without us for this long? It was really fun and pleasing to be around him, mostly because everyone knew him. He was really popular. So, as I was new to the school, along with his help, I was able to get a few friends of my own. In near about 2 years of friendship, I noticed a few patterns in my friend, which were quite unhealthy for me. But now, as I look back at it, it makes me determined to live in better alternatives. So let's look at some of the patterns that a narcissist would often exude, which I experienced and what I learned from them. Number 1, motivation by guilt. Guilt motivation is mostly summed up in the sentence, Shame on you. My ex-best friend was incredibly good at manipulating my ability to feel guilty. There were many instances where he used the phrases, I'd be really disappointed if you do this. I'm really unhappy. You really let me down. Now, this was happening at the age of 12 and 13, where I was still confused as to whether or not Clark Kent is Superman, and he was blackmailing me. So, obviously, I would feel emotionally stressed because if I don't do what he says, I would lose what I really thought a great friend. Now, this is where you take the lemon life gives you and make it a lemonade. Here's the first lesson. Act upon your common sense, which is based on your free will. J.K. Rowling once wrote, and I quote, "It is our choices that make us who we are, far more than our abilities." That is exactly what life is, a series of choices. Do things because you chose them to do, not because you were guilted into doing it. Obligation is not the best motivator as much as free will. It's your life, and you have the absolute right to live it freely based on your free will, occasionally guided by elders. Number 2, entitlement. In our school, we had a class monitor system, where in the absence of a teacher, a student would monitor the class. He'd never been made one. So obviously, he'd be jealous, extremely jealous of the person who was, because when you're a class monitor, it's indirectly declared that you're an all-rounder. He would often backbite to me about them and then irrationally explain as to why he should replace them. At one point, I was so done with his reasoning that I was expecting him to say, I should be the class monitor because I'm 2 years older than God. Surprisingly, he was made one, and boy did he feel over the moon. He got the attention, the admiration, the entitlement, everything he dreamed of. The students had to listen to him whatsoever, and that just made him brag about it even more. Here's the thing. Entitlement reveals an empty soul. Why? Because it's all about you. You think it's everything about you. People want to look up to you. No empathy. You don't have any empathy. So, here's the second lesson I learned. The lesson of humility. Know for a fact that you're not the center of the universe. The world does not revolve around you. Yes, you are unique and you should be proud of it. But do not brag about everything you do. Work in silence and let your success make the noise. The sooner I learned this lesson, the faster I was able to get over his conditional, judgmental, and fragmented love of friendship. You find your specialness by helping others feel special. For all the narcissists, when you learn this lesson, you're able to create an experience of coexistence rather than enmeshment. Number 3, criticism. The other day, he and I were working on a class project, and he showed me his progress, which was right in the title. Now, it wasn't as catchy as attractive enough as I had told him, so I made the gravest mistake of my life and told him, dude, you had one job. It's not good enough, please do it again. Which I regretted instantly. You see, narcissists cannot accept the fact that they have made an error. You tell a narcissist that they've made a mistake and 3 things can happen to you. First, they give you a cold shoulder and silent treatment, making you wish that Einstein gave you the formula of building the time machine before he died. Number 2, they pull off the ultimate Lord Voldemort face when he realized that Harry Potter wasn't dead in Deathly Hallows Part 2. Number 3, both of the above mentioned things can happen to you. I was obviously subjected to option 3, but then he took a step forward and blamed it back on me. Said I should have explained better. Now, if you're friends with a narcissist, this is one of the most common signals that tell you should leave one. Narcissists often put the blame on someone else. They say, because he or she did this as a repercussion, they committed the miscalculation. In layman's term, it's like they punch you in the face and then they blame you that you hurt their knuckles. Simple. Looking back, I realized where I partly went wrong. And here's the third lesson. Be an encourager. This is a small tip to parents as well. Appreciate others' effort. Praise them a little. Make them feel that their value, their energy and work has some significance. Now, let's take my own experience for example. Had I given him a polite suggestion, choosing my words carefully, this would have not have happened. For example, I could have said, "That looks pretty good, dude. Now, to make it look the best, let's add a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It'll really stand out." Judging our ages, I think it would have worked on him. But if it doesn't work on the narcissist friend that you have or person you're with, try working it out on others. Because when you're stuck in that critical mindset, you create a negativity around you. And that is really not beneficial if you're working in a team or if you're in a relationship with anyone. It damages it. Next, respect and self-love. Now I know what you're wondering. It's not a pattern of narcissist. No, it's not. These two are some of the most prominent lessons that I learned along our way of friendship. Any relationship should have a foundation built on respect. Parents and children, teachers and students, boyfriend and girlfriend, bosses and co-workers, friend and friend, even humans and animals. There has to be respect. And you cannot demand it. You have to earn it. It's not pronto. And believe me when I tell you, when narcissists idealize people and things they believe that will enhance their self-worth, they are driven by a desire to possess and control such prizes, and not by true respect. Finally, self-love. I was often told by him, lose weight, improve your fashion sense, do this, do that. At one point, I was often intimidated by his statements, and I would let the peer pressure get over me. But as time passed, I realized myself, no one's perfect in this world. Everything and everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Never ever be under the impression that a narcissist does not know what he's doing. They are fully aware of their actions and words. A narcissist can neither take criticism nor can they accept the fact that they can't do anything. But you can. It's how you harness your strengths and work on your weaknesses is what makes it different. What makes you different. So love everything about yourself. Because when you love yourself, you value yourself. You value the energy you have. You create a sense of self-dignity and self-respect. All in all, I would say that my relationship and friendship with my ex-best friend was not really a misfortune. It taught me a lot about my relationships with others, my own self, and more than anything, to love myself. Because here's the thing, if looks and size really mattered, the elephant would be the king of the jungle. Thank you.